Hi, everyone. Thank goodness you're finally here. Mia is super busy in the bakery this morning, so I got here early to help. Here's what you need to know for today's math mystery. Mia has 3 bread orders today. One is for a 6-inch loaf, one for a 4-inch loaf, and one for a 2-inch loaf. Mia was so busy baking that she accidentally mixed up the loaves, and now she doesn't know which is which. Mia asked, "Can you help me measure the loaves to match them to the right order?" Of course we can, Mia. This actually reminds me of something we've learned before. Remember Milo's garden? We learned that measurement is the way we can find out the length, height, or weight of something. We also learned when we measure length, we measure how long something is. And when we measure height, we measure how tall something is. We use snap cubes to measure objects in the garden, but I'm not sure what inches are. Let's go learn something new. Okay, Milo taught us that units are what we measure things with. When we choose a unit to measure with, we have to measure with units that are the same size. When we chose to measure with snap cubes in the garden, all of our cubes had to be the same size, so our measurements were right. Today, Mia asked us to measure in inches. So, we're going to use a ruler to help us measure. Have you ever heard of a ruler before? A ruler is a straight tool that has special markings on it. Let's take a closer look. This ruler has lines and numbers that help us measure in inches. An inch is a unit of measurement. Each space between these long lines is 1 inch. Does this ruler remind you of anything? It looks a lot like a number line. Just like a number line, we count inches on a ruler one at a time. 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches, and so on. When we measure something with a ruler, we need to make sure one end of our object is lined up with that 0 so we get the right measurement. Let's practice with one of Mia's measuring cups. We are measuring how tall this cup is, so we need to turn our ruler this way. First, we line up the bottom of the cup with the 0 line. Then we look at the top of the cup. Do you see how the top of the cup is next to the 5 on the ruler? That means the cup is 5 inches tall. Great practice. Now we're ready to start measuring Mia's loaves of bread. This time we're measuring the loaf's length, or how long it is. So we need to turn our ruler this way. Let's start again by lining up one end of the loaf with 0. Take a look at the other end. What number is it next to? I see that the end of the loaf is right next to the line with the 4. That means this loaf is 4 inches long. We found out which order this loaf goes with. Let's look at the other loaves. We know this loaf is 4 inches long, and the other 2 orders are for a 2-inch loaf and a 6-inch loaf. I think we can use what we know about comparing numbers to match these 2 loaves with the right measurements. Let's think. By looking at these loaves, we can see that one loaf is longer than the 4-inch loaf and one is shorter. We can also see that one of the numbers on the order is bigger than 4, and one of them is smaller. Do you think we can match these loaves to their order without measuring? The only measurements we have left are 6 inches and 2 inches. Which loaf is longer than the one we measured? This one. To match the longer loaf, let's find the number greater than 4. What do you think? I know that 6 is greater than 4, so the large loaf must be 6 inches. That means the shorter loaf must be 2 inches because 2 is less than 4. We did it! Mia, your bread loaves are matched up to the correct orders. Looks like you're gonna have some very happy customers. We just used our measuring and comparing skills and even learned to use a new tool. Great work, everyone! Remember, you have all the tools you need to solve any problem. See you next time! Hey, hey.